Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're watching this video, it's probably you are interested in upskilling your skills and learning automation. Microsoft Power Automate Desktop is a great tool. It is an automation tool that is completely free and it's available on your Windows machine. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use it, and we're going to train and create a automation live. Right before beginning, I would advise you to search for Power Automate on your computer and see if it's already installed. Otherwise, you can download it from the Windows shop just by searching for Power Automate. All right, let's get started. Once you have installed it and set it up, if it's not on your computer, you can start by creating a new flow, or you can go into the examples. From the examples, you can already start with some pre-built automations. So if you're trying to create a web automation, Excel, desktop, and so on, there are some examples that you can take a look, get inspired, and then create your own automation. We are going to be starting from scratch. So we are going to create an automation that is going to do a repetitive and manual tasks. Now, all of us in our daily life, we have different work that we have to do on the computer. And some of those activities might be repetitive, time consuming, and not worth our time. So what I'm going to automate is posting on different LinkedIn groups automatically. So let's call this a LinkedIn posting. And this process that we're going to build is going to create an automation that is going to automate the process of posting on different LinkedIn pages. Now let's bring up LinkedIn and see how this is going to work. So I'm going to open a new browser and go to LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn, to my profile, and then go from there to the different groups. And we have to post into the different groups. So from my profile, I'm going to go to the different groups. So what I need is, I first need a list of all of the groups that I belong to. So we can create a small automation that is going to go to this page and extract all of these different groups for us, because we want to post on each one of these groups. Alternatively, we could start from an Excel sheet and have this list in an Excel sheet and then clean it out. Let's start by extracting all of this information and getting familiar a little bit with the power of automation. Now, this is your Canva. This is a low-code, no-code platform, meaning that on this platform, you don't need to be a coder to use it or to build with it. So just to give you a short walk through this platform, on the left-hand side of this, we have the different actions. Now, these actions are used to create different interactions that your robot is going to be doing. So you would just drag and drop each one of these actions into your Canva and you start building your robot. So first of all, we need to build a interaction with Google Chrome. So we're going to launch a new browser, and here it's going to ask us for the link. We're going to give it this link right here, and we have created our first action. And the more things that we do, such as, for example, in browser automation, we have different other actions like clicking on a web page, like hovering the mouse, and we can see some of those really cool things. But why is this really cool? Because in just a couple of minutes, we are going to create a automation that is going to extract all of these different links to these pages that we're going to use in the following part of our process. If I wanted to do this manually, I would have to go here and then copy the link somewhere, copy the link and paste it in an Excel sheet. It would take me quite a bit of time. All right, so this is the first step that we have to do, and let's see how easy it is to run this automation. We just click on run and the first step is going to execute. Let's see what happens. Does it work? Is it opening a browser? It has opened a browser on a, here we go, right here. So it has opened it right here. Let's make one little change to this. So it's very easy to make changes to this. We're going to change the Windows state to maximize. So it's going to be easier for us to work with. So the next thing that we have to do is extract all of the different links from this page. All right, so to do that, we can use the recorder, or we can use drag and drop different actions that are right here, such as extract data from the web page. Let me show how you use the recorder. It is also very simple. To use the recorder is going to create a skeleton application for us so that we can automate and build our automations faster. So we will just click record and do the different things that we are doing in our process. The red line that is appearing on top of the different elements on the page is the things that we can interact with. We can extract information, we can click on it, we can get the image, and pretty much anything that we would do with our own mouse. So for example, we want to extract all of these links, and we also want to get the number of members that are in here. So let's extract the link of this group. So to extract the link, we are going to select the link, the first link, and then we are going to repeat this process for only the following element. We're going to right click on the element, go until we see extract element value, and extract the href to this link. After we've done that, we should see a line that has appeared above all of the different elements, and that means that we are extracting all of these elements automatically. So that's pretty much everything. In just a few actions, we created an automation that is extracting information from the web page. Let's optimize it a little bit. So this was what was created by our recording. Let's delete the comments that were created and that we don't need. Let's also delete this action that we have 2 times. We can also test our process right now and see if it's working so far. This was the action that was generated automatically. So it has opened a browser, and let's see if it has completed the run. It has completed the process, and it has extracted 20 groups already. That's great, but I want these groups in an Excel sheet so that I can work on it, or, well, that's very easy. We can just double click on the extract data from web page and see here the configuration to this element. One of the options to configure is the store data mode, and we can set this to Excel spreadsheet. Now, if we set this to Excel spreadsheet, we are not going to be creating a data table, or we're not going to be storing this as a data table inside of Power Automate. We're going to be creating an Excel sheet. We are going to keep this as a variable, and meaning an output data or a data table, so that we can work with this in the further steps in our process. Why? Because right now what we want to do is we want to go to each one of these pages, and we want to post a group, or we want to post a message inside of each one of these groups, post it, and then go to the next group. That is also going to be pretty easy. But before we move on to that part, I want to show you a couple of things that have been generated. Now, every time we add an action right here, all of these actions create different variables. Variables are places where information is stored in Microsoft Power Automate desktop. And for example, in this first action, we can see that there is a variable that was produced and it was stored in the browser variable. This little X sign right next to it means that you can select all of the different variables, but it is the sign to represent variables in Power Automate desktop. Now we can see also here on the right side that if we click on the output data, that was the variable that was created from extracting the data from our web page, we can see that the variable produced right here has been filled out with information that we wanted. This is a data table, meaning that there is different columns and rows that you can have inside of it, not a list or another kind of object or data variable type. All right, so the next step would be to click on each one of these pages, visit it, and make a post. So we can record the different actions, or we can add the actions via the actions pane. Let's add the actions. So the first thing that we will have to do is create a loop. Loop are things that allows us to cycle through different actions. So in this example, we are going to add a for each loop. And the for each loop is going to allow us to go through all of the different links from the output data table that we have. So if we select this from the X or from the variable button, we can iterate through all of these inside of our loop. All right, the loop was created, but we don't have any actions inside. So the first action that we need to do is visit each one of these pages, meaning click on it or go to that link that we have extracted. Well, just before continuing, see that there was another variable that was created and it's called current item. What is the current item? The current item is the line inside of which we are currently. So this could be the current item. This is going to be the first current item. This is going to be the second loop, third loop, fourth loop, and so on. Why is this important? Because then we can use this variable, for example, to navigate to that link. If we go to the browser automations and we go to navigate or go to web page, and we add this go to web page, we can add the URL, which is going to be the current item. And like this, we're going to visit each one of these pages. Let's try our automation and see what happens. Now this is Microsoft Power Automate is also part of a bigger suite of tools, meaning that by itself is completely available for free on your machine, but there's also a cloud version of it that enhances it and makes it more powerful. Power Automate Cloud, which allows to create for different processes that connect via APIs and also enhance the capabilities. We're not going to be covering it in this video, but I might make more videos about it if there are some comments that request more video about this kind of topic and subject. Now we can also see that our automation is running pretty smoothly. We have visited a couple of different groups already. We are cycling through the different groups, and if we go into Microsoft Power Automate Desktop and see what is happening, we can see that this action is running. It is looping through the different groups. Right now it's stuck because the page is loading, and now it's going to another page. All right, well, that's pretty much the first step of our process, or the second step. The third step would be to click this button and make a post. Another good thing to remember in Microsoft Power Automate Desktop and when building these automations is that every page is different, so you can also approach different things in different ways. What do I mean by that? So you can click right here with your mouse click. You can select the tab button and send keystrokes to the browser until you get here, and then send enter. But we are going to try to click right here and then type in some text inside of this box and make this post on each one of the pages that we have created. Now to do that, we can use the recorder, or we can use the actions. So let's add a action that is going to be click on a link. Let's see if we can find it. Click on the link on the web page right here. So this is going to click on somewhere, wherever we want. Now we don't have any elements on our web page, so we are going to add a UI element. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and this is where I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks to show you how to best use Microsoft Power Automate Desktop to create great selectors. So we are going to click on this button, but this is going to be quite a tricky button. And let me show you exactly why. If we go to all the way to the right side and we go in our UI elements, this is the connections with the browser or applications that we are interacting with. Now, if we click on this, we can double click on this, we can see that this is a configuration pane that allows us to configure and fine-tune the connection with the element that we have selected. So in this case, this button right here. Now, Power Automate Desktop has created a selector that is like this, but this is pretty bad selector. Why? Because it is using an ID that is dynamically generated and that is going to change very often, and this is going to be the reason why most of your automations are going to fail, because you are not connecting them properly to the right elements on the page. So to connect properly, we have quite a few improvements in the new version of Microsoft Power Automate, such as test. This is a great functionality. This allows us to automatically test this button that we are going to configure right now. So we know that we can't use ID, and therefore we have to use something else. A good alternative would be to use the class. So we can uncheck the ID, check the class, and then test our selector. We are going to test it and select the page on where we want to test it. This is the page where I want to test it out on. And let's see if it is going to work. So it is finding the selector with the class. So if this class is going to be the same across all the different groups that I am in, Microsoft Power Automate Desktop is going to be able to find this button right here. So let's save this, and we can test this process and see if it's clicking on the button and what is happening. So let's run this process right here and see what is happening. It's opening the browser like we have done already. It is extracting all of the different pages and it's creating a loop, and then it's going through each one of these pages, and it should start by clicking on the start post in this group button. So it's clicking it now. Theoretically it should go to the second page and it should click on the button again. I promise I am not clicking on any buttons. My hands are right here, so it is doing it by itself. So all right, we have already automated in just like 2 or 3 steps. We have already automated something that could take us quite a bit of time if we wanted to do it repetitively. So keep in mind that you can do this on pretty much any web page, any kind of tool, application, or so on. So anything that is repetitive and manual can be automated with this technology. And now if you include AI into it, you can automate pretty much anything that comes to mind that makes sense of automating. All right, so we've seen that this is working pretty well, so we can stop it. And what is the next step? The next step is to type in some text right here. So as I said previously, every web page is built differently, and every web page has different ways that you can do things. Now, from automating this process previously, I know that right here, this is not a input field, but this is a div box. That means that we cannot use the action of web form filling, which is populate text field. But let's try it out. Let's see if we can use this action right here. So let's add a UI element and let's see if we can find this text box right here. So let's type in test and let's save it and let's see if this is going to work. We're going to do one more thing right here. We are going to add a breakpoint. This is going to stop our automation and prevent it from going further. It is going to allow us for testing the application so that we can see what is happening. You will just click right next to the buttons. Let's run our automation one more time and let's see what happens. All right, so far so good. It is working smoothly. It has automated the first, or it has done what it is expecting to do. And now let's see if it's going to write that text. I suspect it is not going to write the text. And let's see if there is an error. Yes, there is an error. So what I have forgotten to do is change the selector. And as I said previously, this is going to be the main reason why your automations fail, is because the selectors are not done properly. So let's go and fix this. So like we did previously, we went to the UI elements, we double clicked in the selector that is causing this issue. And now let's analyze this selector. We have to get rid of this Ember ID thing that is automatically generated and every time different. So we're going to add the class instead. And we're also going to go all the way to the bottom of the of our elements and also add this class as well to make sure that we're getting the right div. Now let's try our automation one more time and let's see if this is working. And also keep in mind that using this automation tools is going to give you a competitive advantage compared to other people that don't know how to use these technologies, even though right now with AI and automation, people are becoming very, very competitive. Oh, it is actually working. So that is great. That's great. So this is going to simplify this process a lot. So I actually didn't think that this was going to work, but this is fantastic. So why is this fantastic? Why am I so thrilled about this? Let me tell you why. And that is because previously I was doing some experiments and I didn't know that this wasn't working. So I was sending keys to the text. But if we automate everything with the browser actions, means that our process can run in the background while we are doing other things, and we don't have to mess around with, or we can just work on it and it's going to perform in the background while we use the computer. So that's great. So let's try this out actually and see if it's going to go through a bunch of different pages. Let me close a couple of these pages that I have open right here. And let's try our process one more time and see if this is going to work. And one more time, I just wanted to stress how important it is to upskill right now, because there is new courses on AI and machine learning. Well, not just machine learning, but using no-code, low-code tools that allow users to become extremely productive, create their own apps, etc., etc. So I think we are going to run into an issue right here. So once we are changing the page, there is a pop-up that is preventing us from going to our other page. So let's fix this in a matter of seconds. So where is this pop-up appearing on? So every time we go to the next web page, there is a pop-up. So if we go to the configuration panel and we go to the advanced, we can change the do nothing to close it in the pop-up dialog appears. So this is going to allow us to automatically close the pop-up once it appears and go to the next page. So we're going to create a post right here and then post it in all of the different groups. But let's see if this is going to work right now and close it. And let's see if we can go through all of different groups, add the sample text, and see if it's going to work. In the meantime, I'm going to open a instance of BART and get some post generated. So let's go to BART right here. But let's also watch this work at the same time. All right, so the pop-up has appeared. So in case this happens, so right now I'm not creating a post, therefore it will not allow if once we post this, that pop-up is not going to be there. But just in case, we're going to leave this functionality. So all right, we are on the next page. Let's see if we can manage to click on it. If it puts the text, all right, so it should close. Let's just watch it for a couple of more examples, and let me in the meantime just generate a post that we are going to post to each one of these groups. So let's go to the let's open BART right here. So this theoretically should be working in the background, and let's create a post for LinkedIn about generative AI. What is great about BART right now, that is entirely free, but you can also upload your own images inside of it and ask it to create posts. So maybe I can search for a generative AI list of tools and find this and ask BART to create us a post about it. So instead of writing something like this, we can ask BART directly to create a list. So is this working? Let's see our process. All right, I have not allowed it to work. Why? Because it has created a send a physical click. So we don't want to send a physical click. This means that is going to, if we're doing something else, it is going to distract our process basically. So we're going to uncheck this, and let's add a post. Let's finish this part of the post. So let's find the images that we're looking for, and we're going to get this image right here, and we're going to save this image. And upload this image inside of BART. Create a LinkedIn post about the attached image. So this should give us some reasonable text that we can put inside of our Power Automate. We're not going to be making this post. We're just going to be adding the text and seeing how we could maybe add images, documents, or other elements inside of our automation. So this is something that it has created. We are just going to add it for example purposes. We're going to copy this and we're going to add it inside of our Power Automate. We're going to do a couple of changes to make this a little bit more efficient and a little bit more proficient. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to add a variable. So if we're going to add a variable that is going to store the text of our post. And why are we doing this? So that we can make our post dynamic, meaning that every time we start our process, we want a pop-up to appear and ask us for us to input the post. So to do that, we are going to add a variable, set a new variable, and we're going to add this text right here that I have created. This is going to be some sample text that we're going to use, and then right here in the populate text field, we are going to change the test, and we're going to add a variable right here that is called new variable that I have created. Now this is, excuse me for the poor naming convention that I have created with the new variable, but if we keep it simple, it might just be clear enough. So we are setting a variable, and the next thing that we want to do is we want to have a pop-up that is going to ask the user to input some text inside of Microsoft Power Automate that is going to be your post. So to do that, we are going to add a pop-up, I believe, or yes, exactly, a pop-up for or an input field, I think. So this is also the beauty of this. I don't know all of these actions, but as I think about what I might need, I search it inside of the actions and it finds me what I need. So for example, in this case right here, we have a message box, display input dialog. So let's go to all of the message boxes and see what kind of message boxes we have. Let's search for the category of message boxes, displays message, input dialog. So we're going to be using this one, and we are going to configure this to input your LinkedIn post LinkedIn post content, and please input your LinkedIn post content. So we're going to be creating this, and the default value, we're going to make it the variable that we have created. We're going to use the new variable. So let's make this also a multi-line, so it's going to be easier for us to see. Let's add a breakpoint right here before launching a new page, and let's run our automation. Now what it should ask us is add your LinkedIn post right here, what you want to post, and this is going to post it on all of the different groups. So you can keep this, or you can add a new one. So every time you start your process, this is going to appear. Once you click OK, it should continue and execute all of the other steps. Now let's see if that actually works. So we have the one more change, and that is inside of the action that we use to input the data inside of the post. We're going to select the variable, and we are going to add the user input. This is going to be what we have as output from the dialog, input dialog. And one more time, you can see all of the variables that are produced right here are user input and button pressed. So all of those values, you can also see them right here. Let's take away this breakpoint, let's run our process, and let's see what happens. So it is going to ask us to insert our LinkedIn post. We're going to keep it as it is. We're going to click OK, and we're going to launch the LinkedIn groups page. It is going to extract all of the different groups that we want to make a post on. It is going to go to the different groups, and it should click on the start a public post, and then it should add the different text and the different content inside of the post. Let's see if it's working. So it is, the first part is working. It is adding some of the text, or not really. Not really sure what is happening. Did it get stuck? All right, so it has added all of the text, and now it's going to the other page. It is going to, the pop-up is going to close the pop-up, and it should automatically go to the other page and repeat this process again. So in just a couple of steps, we have created a basic automation that could potentially save us quite a bit of time if this is something that we do once a week or twice a week, that we want to advertise or promote our product, or make an invite for an event or something like that. But just as this is done, pretty much any action that is repetitive and manual can be automated following the same steps. Let's see a couple of more tricks and tips how to make our automations a little bit better. So we know that this is currently working. It is a super simple process. All that it's doing is setting a variable, asking us to input some text, launching a browser, extracting data from that web page, then navigating to all of the data that we have extracted, clicking a button, populating some text, and then it could be clicking another button. Now let's see a couple of things that are going to help our process be a little bit more solid and easier to understand. Now those things are in flow controls. Now in flow controls we have different actions that can help us manage different actions of our process. So for example, the most easiest one is adding comments in places where we might need to add comments to remember what we are doing in that specific part, or actions such as, for example, on block error, which would allow us to capture different errors that might appear. So for example, in this part right here, we're going to call this LinkedIn automation fail. So if this LinkedIn automation fails, we're going to add this to actions right here, and we're going to capture this error right here, and we're just going to get one error instead of an error for each one of these. Now if I click on each one of these actions, Microsoft Power Automate Desktop also has a on error button. Now this allows us to do different things if different errors occur in our automation. So we can do different rules, we can add different variables or add subflows, or we can just continue our flow. For example, continue our flow, ignore the error and just go to the next action, or just continue the flow, don't show an error, just continue it, and maybe go to a label or repeat this action, or maybe just run a sub process. There is also different elements that you can change with the selectors in case the selectors are not found. So the majority of errors, as I was saying previously, are due to UI interactions or creating poor selectors that are there once, but then maybe on a second page load they are not there. So let's try our automation one more time and see if it is going to show any errors. I don't believe it's going to show any errors, but let's try it either way. So let's run our process. And we see that we have our message right here, and let's send this message right here. Another thing that I wanted to automate in LinkedIn, actually, that I wanted to do right now, was a process that I need to do for one of my colleagues, which is to extract some information from LinkedIn. Now we could see how to do that as well. So let's jump into that actually. So this is actually working, so this is pretty good. It should paste in all of the text and so on. Recently, I also had I've done a automation for one of the RPA Champions viewers that creates a post and that posts it on different pages, either if as a PDF or a video post. Now that process involved clicking into the three dots, selecting the different elements, and making the post accordingly. So very interesting automation. It is a little bit of a lot of different steps to make it stable, but we managed to build something pretty stable, and currently are still fine-tuning it. So all right, this is working pretty fine. So let's try one more example of this. So this is the first process that we have created, and now always remember to save your processes because they are not saved automatically. So if you close this and you don't save it, your processes are not saved automatically. Therefore, you're going to lose all of the work. So in just 10 minutes, not even, we created a process that makes posts automatically on LinkedIn for us on all of the different groups that we are a member of. Now also I'm going to be leaving all of the code in the comments of the video for who wants them. So to get this onto your computer, it's extremely simple. What you will receive or what you will have is let me show you how to transfer one of these processes from one computer to the other. So it's extremely simple. You will just Control A or select all of the different actions inside of your Canva, Control C or copy all of the different actions, just copy them, and go to Notepad and paste all of these steps in here. It looks like a bunch of gibberish, but you can just save this and then copy it, and let me show you what I mean. So I have copied this. I'm going to erase all of these steps from right here, and I'm just going to paste them again from right here. So all of the steps would be pasted. Everything should work and should work as well. So let's close this. We are going to save it, and let's see if we can see one more process, if we can see one more automation live right now. So what we want to do is we want to extract LinkedIn applicants. Let's check out this process. Let's see if it's working, and let's see how we can fine-tune it, fix it, and make it actually work and usable in just a couple of minutes. This is going to be also another live demonstration of how easy it is, and also how to debug this kind of processes when there's actually issues and stuff like that. So one thing is watching a video that is going to teach you one way, but automating processes is like a little bit like an art, because every web page is different from each other. So you have to kind of try different paths and different ways and see what works the best. All right, so let's just try this process and see what is doing. So it should launch a new Excel Chrome, or a new Excel. It should launch a new Chrome. After that, it should extract some data from the web page, get the first free column, add some information. All right, let's try it out and see what happens. So all right, so it has failed already. Why it has failed? Because I don't have Excel installed on this computer. So what we have to do is we are going to store this as a data variable. So let's extract. So what we have to do is get rid of Excel and create a data table inside of this process, where we're going to be adding all of the curriculums, or all of the people that have applied to this. So let's run this process and see if this is going to work. So first of all, let's see what happens. It goes to a page that doesn't exist. That's great. So what we need to do is we need to go to the talent insight, where we have different applicants. So this is also another repetitive and manual process. So in this process right here, so let's go to the home. So in this process right here, let's change this. So let's use this right here. So in this process right here, what we want to do is we receive candidates for different job offers. However, unfortunately on LinkedIn, you can't share the different job offers. So why am I not being logged in? Yes, I am. All right. You can share the different candidates that have applied to the job posts with your colleagues. So it's very hard that if you post a job on LinkedIn, it's very hard to share all of the people that have applied. So if I show you the different jobs that we have and that have reached already full capacity of the maximum amount of applicants that have applied, I would like to share this colleagues, these jobs, or these people that have applied with my colleagues, but I can't do that. So I'm going to create an automation that is going to view all of the applicants for this job by going to this link right here. So we're going to insert this link right here, and after that, what are we going to do? We want to click on each one of them, and we want to see their profile, I guess. What does this button do right here? No, this send a message. Then we want to click on this and see full profile. So that's what we want to do. We want to click on each one of these and click on more and see full profile. All right, let's do that right now. So we are going right here. What is this doing right here? Let's see. So this is supposed to extract some information, but I'm not sure what it's extracting. Doesn't matter. We are gonna build this from scratch. All right, so let's go back to our automation, close this. Let's delete, could have been interesting to know, get details of element on the web page. Could have been interesting to know what is happening, but all right, we're just going to build it from scratch. All right, erased all of this. So we're going to this page, and what we want to do is we want to click here, and then click on here. So I guess there's different ways to do it, and maybe the first and easiest one would be to just click on all of the different people that are here. So let's also clear all of the ratings so that we can see all of the different pages. And what happens if I click on a different page? Why am I asking that? Is because often we can navigate using the links. Instead of clicking on different elements, we can use the link to change between different pages. So if we click, for example, on 3, maybe the link has changed a little bit and it has went to 50. So on the first page, I guess it's, let's see how it doesn't have anything. And then on the other pages, all right, doesn't matter. We are going to start by clicking and trying to extract all of the links in each one of these. So we're going to use the recorder to do that. And we are going to try to select a URL or find a URL that we can use. So let's click on the record button and go to the different, see if we can find somewhere a URL or a link that we can click on. So if we right click on this element and we go to extract element, we can see that we are just extracting the name. Let's actually change approach. Let's just select this whole box and we're just going to click on this list element. So let's just click on this. And then we are going to click on this. And then we're going to click on this, but the profiles are not changing. So I guess we have to click on the name. So let's erase all of the steps that we have created. And let's do this one more time. So I'm going to click on the first name. After that, I'm going to click on the second name. And all right, the profile is changing. After that, I will click on the third name and on the fourth name. So I have made a couple of clicks. Now we're going to repeat those in a loop. But before that, let's just see if we can find a link that would be easier to work with. Meaning that instead of making the clicks, we can use different links. But doesn't matter. Let's just continue as we did with the clicks. So let's go back to Microsoft Power Automate and let's end our recording session and see the different steps that were created for us. So let's close this. Let's delete these first steps and all of the comments that we need and take a look at the different elements that were created. So we clicked on the different names of the different candidates. So let's check out these selectors and see how they're created. So they are pretty bad, these selectors. Why they're pretty bad? Because they're not very descriptive. So in that case, what we have to do is we can do this in different ways. The first way is that we are looking to find if we can, if there is an ordinal number that is changing that we can change. So let's see the first candidate that we clicked. Let's see on the second candidate that we have clicked. The ordinal is always the same, but if I select, for example, this and we test this, what is going to happen? Let's see if there is something that is going to get highlighted. Okay, I have a lot of browsers open from the previous session, so it's always good when working on a new process, also when testing our processes, to close all of the different sessions that are open to prevent interference from other sessions. So let's just run this process one more time. And here we have an error with the link that we have posted. We cannot add these signs because this means that this is a variable. So what we have to do is we have to convert this URL. So to do that is extremely simple. We would just open a new browser session and convert or decode URL. So let's add this to the to our link, and it should not give a problem. So let's save our process, and we don't have an issue, but let's see if this link is actually working. So let's post it, let's run it. It seems like the link seems to be not good, so we are going to try that again. So let's go back to the browser that we were working with right here. Let's see if this link is actually good. All right, we're having some issues with this. There is a couple of things that you can do. You can Control Z on this process that we have created and just go all the way back to what it used to be. So right here we can see how the link was created previously. So I'm going to take this link from right here, how it was previously set, and navigate to this to try to get the right link once again. So let's go back to the browser that we had.